Welcome into Rounding the Bases, presented by Enterprise Bank and Trust. Hashtag no stopping you. The podcast about culture and leadership with a baseball twist. My name is Joel Goldberg, coming to you from the Kansas City Audio Visual Studios. They create engaging spaces. Check them out at kcav.com. And I can connect you too with my guy, Alan, if you're looking for more information. I have a phenomenal guest today. He is a repeat guest from quite a while back on the iTunes version of this podcast. And of course, people will be able to hear this on iTunes soon too. But A.Y. Young is a longtime musician here in Kansas City and around the world for that matter. What makes him unique, and he has performed and worked with some big time celebrities like the Wiz Khalifas of the world and many others, but he has this passion and this goal to change the world, which we all do, right? I mean, we all want to make the world a better place. I hope, I think. But in AY's case, he's been doing that through his music, and he was recently named to a very, very honorable, elite, and exclusive group of 17 people from around the world. So I am excited right now to bring in to Rounding the Bases the man who sang and produced the song you hear at the start of the show, Rounding the Bases theme song, A.Y. Young. How are you?
Yo, I'm good. Everybody knows Joe Goldberg.
See, there it is. I knew that was going to come. I was thinking, I wonder if he remembers the song, because I know that people, like my kids, sometimes will be humming it around the house.
Yes, dude. I remember the song. I sing it every now and then. Are you serious? And I can't sing the song. I can't not sing it when I see the Royals. Huh?
Okay, much more important things. I might want to ask you about that song again a little bit later in the podcast.
Yeah.
But now the name A.Y. Young, well, before it was A.Y. Young and street performer, I think went hand in hand, or A.Y. Young and the Battery Tour. And we'll revisit that in a moment. But now it's A.Y. Young and the United Nations. Tell me about this. This is unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean it's crazy, right? I mean, um, I was obviously picked, man, as one of the 17 young leaders of the world. And what's even more special about that is I'm the only representative and voice of the youth from the United States of America. So, like, yo, like I was saying, that's some pressure there. But this is amazing. I have the full support of the U.S. the Secretary General, the United Nations, the Youth Envoy, and they are here to make my music happen and to really push my startup battery tour forward and make these big dreams happen about getting the world plugged in.
Okay, I know I could ask you if you know how this happened, and I'm pretty sure you're going to tell me. I have no idea how I ended up on this list of 17 out of how many thousands and thousands of people applied.
It was like 18,000 in like
Wow.
186 countries.
So I know that would be the humble response, but the reality of it is you made this list, and I know you had some people that were putting in great word for you, which is the way the world works because they
Right.
recognize what you have done. So this is all deserved, but it's deserved because of the countless hours, the days, the weeks, the months, the years, the
Yeah, man.
passion for bringing your talents to the street with a focus on renewable energy. So let's give the refresher course on what the battery tour is and how you've been able to try to make an impact in the world.
Oh yeah, yeah, man. I've been reflecting a lot. It's funny. I've had like VCs hit me up. Some guy hit me up. Said, oh well, 20% of battery touring will give you what is $1 million or something. It was about 1 million or 2 million. But it allowed me to reflect and realize, wow, I really built this. I got off the X Factor TV show in 2012, and I just wanted to say hey to the world. So I obsessed over energy storage. How do I store enough energy to do a concert, right? Like, and started doing these battery tour performances. I didn't even call it battery tour. And initially I was performing. I look back, I see batteries. I'm like, yo, battery tour. I've done over 800 of these, man. I did over 800 concerts. Like last year before COVID, I did 230 concerts powered by renewable energy. So it's nuts. I was talking to Brian Kennedy, who's my mentor and now executive producer on this global goals project that we're about to launch that's going to change the world. And he was just telling me, he was like, I remember when he would come to me and say, "Yo, I did 100 shows," and he would be like, "Do 200 more." He would really say that, and then I really went out and did it, you know. And so, yeah, man. I mean, no one understands. He was even telling me, man. He was like, he said this. He was like, no one understands, you lived in a car for 6 years. Like I lived in a car for 6 years. I did 10-hour shows. He was talking about how his fiance would go down to Burbank and see me play all the time. And it's funny because around the world, people are sending letters from New York, Austin, everywhere, acting as if I lived there, but I really just slept in a car and did shows every day. And he was telling me, man, he said this, man. I guess I'll say this on the record. I'm shocked. He was like, you got more hustle than he named a bunch of different celebrities and said combined. I don't want to say the names. I don't want to insult anyone, but it's not an insult. But I don't know, man. I really went above and beyond. I mean, if you can imagine doing 8 hour, 10 hour, 6 hour shows for 6 years, every single day, 230 or so a year, in a 365-day calendar, you know all about moving around, Joel. You know all about traveling. It's tough, man. But you built
Yeah,
what you built, right?
yeah, and I don't want to compare. Not that you're trying to, other than the fact that I understand the grind. Of course, my grind involves hopping on a private charter, staying in five-star hotels, and so that's why I don't really want to compare. Other than the fact that I understand that when you do it today, good or bad, you have to come back and do it tomorrow and the next day and the next
Yeah,
day and the next day, and maybe you get a couple of days off for the month. And so it's
exactly.
different, but the similarity is you have to keep showing up and you have to keep putting it in. And that's on good days and bad days. And I
Yep.
was wondering about that too. So for people that haven't seen it, don't understand it, AY can get out on a street corner at a venue, somewhere around town, and plug in with this renewable energy. So you're not taking up any energy. The energy comes from you, and then literally and figuratively, and then you might perform for 8 hours of nonstop songs and all of that. And I'm wondering what the energy personally for you is on that, when there are going to be moments where the crowd shows up and they're dancing and they're into it, and you're a big personality and a big energetic guy. But then there are
They're
going to be
going to
moments where
dance.
there might be one person out there, right? So how do you keep
Oh
that
yeah.
going?
Not just moments, sometimes hours, like in some places in Cali, some places in random country towns that literally probably have never listened to hip hop music or so this is what enabled me to be great though, because then I go, okay, I got to play Sam Smith. No, now I got to do a Keith Urban record because they're not going to pay attention to me unless I'm singing Keith Urban, right? So it also, yeah, it was tough, but it developed me into this thing where I can do folk, I can do this, I can do that, I can do any kind of music, Michael Jackson, Prince, right? But you know what? It's funny because people always enjoyed the show, or they hear or see the battery tour. Maybe they think that I was plugged into electricity. What you forget is that I'm carrying these 100-pound batteries to wherever the place is at. Sometimes I was carrying them for 2 blocks. Sometimes I would carry something, almost have to run it to the area. Like I would budget my gear. I'd be like, okay, I'm not going to take the speaker out of the car, but I'm going to take the batteries in this because it's 2 blocks and I don't want to get there and then my keyboard's going. So there is this, sometimes I would pull people off the street and say, hey man, can you please just stay here right here just for 5 seconds? I'm going to run over there, grab this. Like, and people forget after that 6 hour show of full on dancing and James Brown, Michael Jackson stuff, and doing Bruno Mars and doing my original song and engaging people and doing the Cupid Shuffle and all of this stuff. When the show's over, I gotta pack it up
Mm-hmm.
safely. It's like people have to understand I was storing the energy. I am the set guy. Nobody coming through building the set and I'm just rolling through like an art. I used to make fun of artists in an interesting way. I would make fun of artists because I would hear, this artist lost their voice, and they did like 3 shows in like 3 days, and their shows were like an hour long. And I thought to myself, I I'm setting up the entire concert, carrying hundreds of pounds of batteries, doing a 6 or 7, 8 hour show, tearing it back down, getting back in the car, driving somewhere to the next city or state and/or to a parking lot, trying to avoid police or whoever because I'm not supposed to sleep in this parking lot because I don't have enough money from cash tips to buy a hotel. hotel room. And that was my struggle every day though, you know?
Yeah. So you have this, to me, I would say three parts to your life. There's more, but the music, the business, the the entrepreneurial side, and then I guess I'd call the activist side. And so I'm wondering what kind of motivates you every day. I mean, is it this renewable energy, saving the planet, making the world a better place? Is the music and the entrepreneurial side and ends to the means to get you there?
Yeah, I mean, I think everything just evolved, you know? Like you're giving me terminology that wasn't there in 2012. Like in 2012, people weren't like, "Oh my God, that's renewable. You're
Right.
sustainable." Right? They might just be like, "Man, you're great, bro. We're your outlets. We power the tour. Here's $5." That's what was happening, right? And so, I always had the same mythology, though. I always believed, wow, everyone in the world is an outlet for change and plugged into each other, plugged in locally. I can do anything. I always thought about Prince and Michael Jackson and being a symbol and wrapping my music around that. So with that, and I always was about spreading love and bringing people together, all ages, all demographics, all tax brackets. So it was natural as I traveled America and opened for Wiz and opened for Shaggy and opened for these people, and I saw, okay, there's people in the U.S. without electricity. Hell, there's over 1 billion people who lack access to energy. Let me build something to then get them plugged in because they're all outlets. So it evolved that way. And I'm like, okay, let's build something, built the outlet and start using the music that was already bringing people together. That's a universal language, right? To continue and do that, but to raise money and send one person a box a day around the world, a village, whatever I could do, because I believe one action every day towards your dreams and goals, one step. Creep Creep was a song I made. I think that's how we all make a difference. I think we have to do it together. So that was me doing, hey, heck, I can do 200 something shows. That's potentially 230 people plugged in a year. And so that's what I tried to do. And it just evolved over time. Now people want to use phrases and say, oh, well, you're reducing the carbon footprint. That's right. You're right. I am. I guess I am. I mean, I'm literally showing you what could be done. It's fascinating to me when Coldplay says, I want to do a concert sustainably. They should be powered by battery tomorrow. Why is Justin Bieber's next arena tour not completely powered by renewable energy? That's probably because I'm not working with Tesla. That's probably because Evergy in Kansas City and the Royals have not yet wrapped behind me and said, okay, how can we further sustainability through what you've created, right? All of these things, and now I'm hoping with the support of the entire United States and the United Nations, those partnerships and those outlets, we can all plug into each other and we can make this happen.
It's a process, and it's a long process, and we see that certainly with debates over topics like climate change, which shouldn't be a debate, but it takes a long time for people to get somewhere. And once they get there and they understand it, then it becomes part of their lives. And so, you look at where you are today in 2020 versus 2012, even if the terminology has changed, now you have this platform. Now you have this voice, not coming
Yeah.
on here, but to be able to pop up onto NPR and to be able to be highlighted by all these other outlets. So how will is it 1 year with them with the program?
No, it's two.
2 years.
Yeah.
Okay. So what what will they do for you? What will you do for them?
Yeah, that's awesome. So, obviously I'm kind of in this position too because there's these things, this thing called the global goals, right? The global goals of the world. It's all the countries of the world saying, "Hey, we need to do these 17 things." They're called the SDG, Sustainable Development Goals. So I'm kind of in this position because I'm helping advance those global goals, specifically with energy and climate action specifically, but we kind of hit everything. So the question is, what will I do for them? What will they do for us? Well, they act as an extension of self, right? So of course, social media has said, oh, one of the 17. Now we roll out a project that they fully support. Now the one thing that the UN can't do is write us a check, but they can write a letter of engagement or connect us to any philanthropist in their network or donor, and they are our liaison, our partner. They have full staff now working behind us to do anything that I deem necessary to achieve the battery tour and AY macro vision. So with that being said, it's like, okay, we have to submit our project by the 30th of October. And it's like, okay, what are we going to do, right? You know, are we going to go do a tour? Of course, right? Everyone expects AY to go do renewable power concert and maybe plug in some countries, uh, and maybe make an album, right? And so, yeah, we're going to do all that. But I took it a step further. I said, well, how can we really change the world using music? So I decided there's 17 goals of the world. So I'm going to do an album with 17 songs, each song to represent each goal, right? And then we're going to line up the right artists who care about those goals and the right
Mm.
organizations, nonprofits, corporations, whatever, and plug them into those goals, right? So I brought in Brian Kennedy as my executive producer, Kansas City legend, obviously 6 Grammys, Rihanna, Disturbia, all the, you know, Chris Brown forever. Brought him in as the executive producer to work that with me, and then we brought in 1500 or Nothing, which is Justin Timberlake's 2020 experience, Bruno Mars' last album. These are top of the tippy top. And we've started tapping people like your Lady Gaga, your Bruno Mars, who are very interested to be a part of the specific thing they care about. Lady Gaga specifically, the gender equality record. Bruno Mars is something else, right? So all that, you know, we're talking to Jaden Smith right now about the water record, right? So we're building this template and plugging in the biggest and the best organizations, companies, and corporations that care about sustainability, or maybe you only care about education. Maybe that's all you care about. That's fine. That's where you fit, right? So that's kind of what we're compiling and putting together this three-pronged, it's a four-pronged approach. It's an album sustainably. And by the way, first ever album produced, mixed, and mastered from the ground up, not on fossil fuels. It will be a sustainable album that we're going to do here in Kansas City. I'm going to build a structure here or a studio here sustainably, and it'll be powered that way. Then we're going to do a tour, 17 days, all sustainable, right? Powered by renewable energy. And we're going to do a docu-series that is a 2-season docu-series documenting season 1, which is the music, and season 2, which is the tour, right? So that's what we're doing to create a massive impact, and then also produce a roadmap. So at the end of all this, at the end of the music and then the tour and the end of the second season of the docu-series, we'll release a roadmap to show artists and people, hey, by the way, this is how you power your studio and do it sustainably. This is how you tour sustainably. This is how you do all of these things that are available now and not in 20,000 and 2080, right? You can do it right now, essentially be saving the planet and doing something good for the environment in the world.
I love it. You got a lot going on. Time now for the baseball themed questions brought to you by Kissick Construction. Trusted team, reliable partner. Check them out at kissickco.com. We did these a couple of years ago, so let's update it a little bit because you've had a lot going on since. It could be everything we're talking about. I don't know. What is the biggest home run now that you have hit professionally?
Definitely being a young leader of the world for the United Nations and for the only representative for the U.S. Definitely that.
What does that mean to this list, AY? The 17 people on this list are from all over the world. You mentioned being the only one from the US, Pakistan, Turkey, China, Peru, Egypt, Senegal, Bulgaria, Nigeria, Brazil, Liberia, Ireland, Colombia, Australia, India, Uganda, Bangladesh. There were a couple repeats in there. What does it mean to be in that group?
I mean, it means the world. I mean, I'm even in another group. I just hit 40 under 40 for energy as well, which is nuts. And I'm way under 30. So, but I mean, it means a lot. I mean, it's a lot of pressure, honestly. To be honest, it's just pressure. It's like, how can you really be the voice of all youth, you know, in the US and in the world? And I know that that's not possible, but I know that I have a collaborative idea. So it's like, okay, I'm in this position where I'm speaking for the youth and helping pushing us into the next phase of life and generation, right, or whatever. So let's just use this to plug everyone in, you know, to utilize the battery tour as an outlet for your passion, for everyone's passion to plug in and connect to that. How can we together approach these issues and do one action, you know, one step every day toward your dreams and goals or your passions with this bigger, broader view? I think that that's how I have to approach it. Otherwise, I don't know. I'd probably losing my mind, maybe get too prideful. Who knows?
All right. How about the swing and miss? Because You are a guy that does swing for the fences every single day. You're going to miss sometimes. I've talked to you at times where you've been down and bummed out and wondering where the support was. What's the biggest swing and miss you've taken? What did you learn from it?
That's hard. I have to say I've taken so many and missed so many. I just missed another one recently. That's hard, man. I I don't. Dang, that's a hard one, Joel. Um, I'm gonna say, man, the biggest swing and miss. Hmm. I think the biggest anytime I've ever asked for money in my whole life, I feel like was a miss. I guess I was never ready, or maybe the paperwork was never complete, or maybe the vision wasn't there. And I think it's because this vision is so audacious. And it's hard to see a business or an entrepreneur when you're staring at a really great entertainer. And investors have a hard time seeing something that's solid, but they just couldn't see it. They couldn't see through me. I mean, that's why having Thor as a partner has been so great, because now you see this, young white guy built the Ford incubator at Ford Motor Company, business suit and tie, and even though the macro vision is the same, just having the other looking guy somehow changed the conversation. So, yeah, I guess the biggest swing and miss is maybe just understanding who should be swinging,
Hmm.
whether you're the
Interesting.
player or not. Huh? Huh?
Interesting.
Huh? Huh?
Yeah, there's
Huh?
a deeper discussion there, and one that we've had many times on this podcast. All right, the final baseball theme question is small ball, and I it's my favorite question, and because you can win with little singles and bunts and sacrifices and playing good defense, and I think it's the same for you. You can't hit a home run in any given day when you're talking about something as massive as renewable energy and climate
Yeah.
change and
And
saving the
progressive,
world.
right?
That is a progressive. That is a series of small ball moments. What is small ball to you? What are the little things that add up to the big things?
Yeah, yeah, and that's why I scale it down, and that's why I say, I mean, at the end of the day, music is simple, right? You enjoy Bono, you might like Wiz Khalifa. Oh, nah, maybe you don't. I kind of like Shaggy, right? Oh, well, he's trash. I like this person. Everyone has their own thoughts, but music's a universal language. So that's
Mm-hmm.
why I'm not just saying, let's go save the world, even though I intend to save the planet in a lot of ways. But also, to me, I try not to even take a side with this whole climate thing. And I mean, to me, I go, why aren't we just using what's available? I simply am using what's available. I have the option, the technology, and I'm not even working with Elon yet, to store renewable energy and power an entire concert. For me, that's a no-brainer. Why is Justin not doing it tomorrow? Why is Billie Eilish not powered by battery tour next week? When I was at the Chiefs Stadium and did every home game last year when they won the Super Bowl, I was in the parking lot doing the tailgate. I can't tell you how many tailgaters came over and said, "Yo, man, this isn't making any noise. Can I buy one?" I'm like, well, I wish had a manufacturer and da da da, but yes, that's the goal. Someday your generator won't be making noise because you'll be powered by the outlet. To me, that's a no-brainer. We don't have to talk about climate. We don't have to talk about, well, is this real or not? Well, hey, do you want a soundless, almost limitless device that can produce energy? I
And
do.
by the way, this could then go into villages and places all around the world and provide them that energy that they don't have
Now
at
that's when
all.
you're talking about changing the world, giving people
Right.
access to energy that then they can access internet and educate themselves. Oh,
Right.
woo! Now we're talking about changing. But right now I'm just talking about getting people energy.
Yeah. Yeah. And unfortunately, when people sit there because we are spoiled and say, oh, wait, this would be convenient, I won't hear as much noise, that's the motivating factor. But in the end, if that gets people to spend their money to jump on board, to plug in as outlets, as you say, everything works out. Okay, time for my final four baseball themed questions as we round the bases. The first one will involve, and I'll let you comment on the other side, and I put a little picture in for those that are watching. Those that are listening, you'll get the point. You heard the song at the start of the episode. You'll hear it again at the end. But if you've wondered who came up with that catchy tune, it was AY Young. So let's take about a 50-second listen on this, AY.
Let's do it. Yo, round the bases. Yo,
I love the little harmony in there at the end too. I should talk to
yo.
my editor about putting that little thing in the end there. Everybody, I can't. I'm not going to try to sing.
Get
No
it?
chance. That's the first. This is the first time I've ever been able to ask you about the song on record. But I know that when we did our podcast a couple years back, I said, "Hey, would you have any interest in?" And then over a couple days, you crank it out, and I tune in one night on Facebook. I'm in Anaheim doing a Royals Angels game. It's late in the game, and you're right on Facebook Live with all your people, and you're sharing the song, and suddenly you look, and my name pops up. I'm in the middle of working, and now we're checking that thing out. Tell me about that song. It has got to fall like towards the bottom of the list of things that you've done in your life, but I think it's pretty
Nah,
amazing.
dude. No, I think it's awesome, dude. It's one of the best things. Hey, that theme song is hard. I mean, yeah, I just remember thinking that pretty much everybody knows Joe Grope. Like everybody knows you in Kansas City, bro. You're the freaking voice of the Royals, man. You know, I was
Yeah,
just, and I think you shot me some notes or some thoughts or something, and it
yeah.
just made me really just. I mean, the song just came fast. Songs will come fast for me. Like I made Save the Planet in 4 hours, so it just came, man. The words came. Knowing you, bro, it just flowed, and I wanted something that would last longer than
It's
a
catchy.
season.
It's catchy. I mean, it's just we just carried it over. Like I have no desire to find some kind of other music,
That's
anything.
awesome.
Like this is it.
That
So
means a lot.
it's
I was like, one day I'm like, the Royal Stadium might sing this, you know?
hey, listen. I don't know about that. I just know that if and like I didn't write any of it. You just you were just like, what are the goals, or what are you thinking about in terms of the podcast? What's important to you? And I just leadership and culture and this and that, and then suddenly you came up with everything, and I was like, wow, this is pretty amazing. Or
Hey, I'm
as the
glad.
kids would say, by the way, because I'm too old for this, it's dope. But anyway, let's move on to my second round of the bases question.
Dope.
It's a little bit of a baseball theme too. One of the greatest Royals of all time, who's in politics now, Frank White, my old broadcast
Ooh,
partner.
love
Tell me
Frank,
about
man.
your recent encounter with Frank, because that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that was super. Oh, yo, first of all, Frank is a legend. I'm so blessed to have him as a friend now. Frank said a lot of stuff. I got some stuff on camera for the TV show. Some really cool stuff. Frank White, yeah, he he changed my life. I mean, he's one of the first politicians on board to really say, "Hey, this is what's happening," and support AY with this proclamation. And the mayor's about to do his, and the state of Missouri is doing a resolution, and the governor. So I'm just super blessed. But Frank White, overall, man, he's a solid guy. He's really busy, made some time, you know, and really believes, what I'm doing is the future, and I think that's awesome.
That's great. Fantastic. Okay, third question as we round the bases. I listed off all of your fellow colleagues now, we could say, with the UN, your counterparts, all those
Huh?
places around the world. I know you've traveled all over the world too to some really amazing places. What would be number one on your list of places that you would like to go and perform?
Ooh, um, some places in, hmm, I actually want to perform. You want to hear something? I want to
Yeah.
do the battery tour like at the Grand Canyon. I want to pick
Huh.
some places that are have never seen music ever, and I want to do what I do there. So wherever that would be, could be third world countries, could be random, incredible places, and I got some ideas that I think will transform what you've normally seen from music.
Yeah, probably not a lot of street performances going on at the Grand Canyon, I'm guessing.
Huh? Not a lot of concerts powered by renewable energy. You know what I'm
That's right.
saying?
I hear you. Okay, fourth question. I could ask you to go back and talk about your college basketball game and
Mhm.
your skills, but we did that in the last one. We got to move
Yeah.
on from sports. I'm sure you could get out there still and sink a
Maybe I'm
three
gonna
or something like
try.
that. I know, but like, who's got time for that, right? So let's talk about something more important. What are your goals in these 2 years with the United Nations? What are your sort of short to medium term goals right now?
Yeah, I think it's just this one project and executing it where it involves everyone listening, every potential company or corporation, like the very fabric, including like even how we're interfacing with utility companies, and we're working with their beneficial electrification and demand side management programming, and we're wrapping that into this strategy of how we affect people on the locale level. I think it's working with the UN to not only reach the youth, not only plug in the older generation and engage them, not only inspire them to take an action, whether it's turning off a light and energy efficiency, or whether it's whatever, not only becoming a trend on social media that enables you to have to want to engage because, yo, man, da da da, did you see that? Not only having all that spark, but then bringing in that educational component, that extra impact component, and then giving people a roadmap and an actual outlet, like on every level. And there's a lot of complexity in it, and it sounds like, well, what's he talking about? But when you see what we unravel, as I talked about having like you Lady Gaga on the gender equality record, as I talked about potentially as I hit up Gary White from water.org and plug him in and water.org to the water goal. As we achieve the global goals of the world, we will plug in everyone, and I think everyone will recognize. So here's a really quick answer to that I should have said. I want to make sure that I can inspire or allow people to understand that they're all outlets for change, right? And once they recognize they're an outlet for change, plugged into each other in the world, that's my goal with the UN. It's like, how can I get everyone to recognize they are an outlet for change?
I love it. For anyone that wants more information, first off, you can pretty much jump anywhere on social media, all the platforms, and search for AY Music or Battery Tour, and you will find anything and everything you need. Or you can go to AY's website, aymusic.com. AY, those initials, AYMUSIK.com. I am so excited for you. You have made it in so many ways and then have so far to go, which but now you have this increased platform, this worldwide platform. So AY, congratulations on being one of 17 in the UN's 2020 class of 17 young leaders for sustainable development goals. I'm proud of you, my friend. Good luck with everything. Keep us updated, and thanks for making time for the podcast
Thank you,
today.
man. Thank you,
All
man.
right.
Thank you, Joe. See you soon, bro.
Oh, yeah. You want to talk about energy? This guy's got renewable energy because he never stops. He just keeps on going and going. And I know that you will keep on doing that. So great to be able to visit with our friend A.Y. Young. A shout out to my sponsors, Enterprise Bank and Trust, Kansas City Audio Visual, and Kissick Construction. I hope you'll share this episode with your network. Send in those 5-star ratings on iTunes. And you can reach me at joelgoldbergmedia.com. Thank you for listening to Rounding the Bases presented by Enterprise Bank and Trust, #No Stopping You. My name is Joel Goldberg, and I don't get to say this very often. We'll have today's guests carry us out with the song.